Good evening to you all and welcome to this, the May 12th edition of Beyond the Headlines. My name is Colin Dowe and I will serve as your host this evening. As always, I start off by saying thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for making us part of your Monday evening. Whether you're listening to us on GBN Radio, looking on GBN Television or any of our social media platforms, we appreciate the fact that you are going to share part of your time with us this evening. And we are getting inside MWAG, so the media is with the media as it was. So we have members of the media who will be on the opposite side of the microphone. They're coming out of an election, fresh executive. So inside the media, vision, challenges, future of media in Grenada. And with us is the new president of the Media Workers Association, Ms. Calistra Farrier. Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Online, we have the first vice president, who is Sophia Phillip. She is ways away from the state of Grenada, but still able to join us. Sophia, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. And my good friend and brother, I call him the governor of Carriacou and Pity Martinique. I hope no one is offended. But Rawle Paterson, treasurer, welcome, my brother.
Thanks for the knighthood and pleasure to be here.
Excellent. And, you know, we'll just explore, but it's just for our viewers and listeners, Calistra, if you can, just who makes up the new executive?
I certainly can. Of course, I was elected president. We had our annual general meeting last Saturday. And so our first vice president is Sophia, Phillip, very able, accomplished young lady. Always, she's one of the media people that we are waiting to come back because we believe she's a real asset. And she's been a real asset on the outgoing executive because she's also part of the executive then. She was the treasurer then. Our second vice president is Nisha Paul from the old executive also, our treasurer sitting here next to me from Carriacou, and I have to say, for the first time, there is someone, a media person from Carriacou, sitting on the management of MWAG, and that for us is significant and it's important that we are able to include Carriacou. It's, you know, we've been talking about it. It's something that has not been far from our mind, but we've never really been able to action it, and we've been able to do that now by Rawle being elected in this new executive. Nisha Peters is our secretary, and our assistant secretary treasurer is Tahira Burke. Tahira is a WPG10, and I think I have a good team that we can get some work done because, you know, the last time I was here, we talked about how much work needs to be done.
I recall well.
Yes, so it's a strong team, and we will do our best at the Grenada Media Workers, Media Workers Association of Grenada.
Right. Let me just ask you this, because you mentioned Rawle coming on from Carriacou, but he's treasurer, so he's not Carriacou, he's treasurer. Is there space for sectorial membership on the executive? And by that I mean whether we're looking at representative from Carriacou, but then the other parishes may say, why not us? So whether we say there's somebody must be on that represents print, somebody must be on that represents radio. I mean, I don't know, is there space? Because I notice it's a tight unit, small group, allows for flexibility. I certainly get that as well.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the core is a small group, and certainly we're not running for parliament. Although someone said the other day I need to behave a little better because look at how I spoke to a citizen, and I said, wow, they thought I got elected to parliament. She's president of MWAG. You know, the fact is that right now in this executive, we have people from St. Andrew, we have people from St. David, Carriacou, St. Mark, myself, St. Patrick, people, Tahira is from Hermitage. So we do have people from across the country on this executive.
Right.
Sophia is from St. Patrick also, so we do have...
and the representation is the various forms of media as well? You see that reflected?
No, it's not, because our constitution does not have it that fine-tuned where you do it by areas of the media. It's simply just an open election where you nominate people for the various positions, no matter where they... I mean, our constitution does exclude some people from holding certain posts.
Okay.
If you're in PR and marketing, and so there are some limitations there. If you're GIS, we had some difficulties when people from GIS were in in the management seat of MWAG when we had issues that involved the state, because people had a difficult position of choosing between
the employer,
press freedom and their job, and they chose their job. You know, bread and butter always comes first, and you can't really fault them for that. But recognizing that, MWAG took steps to fix that. So we did some changes in our constitution. So there are some exclusions. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, political activists also cannot join MWAG. Yes.
Understood. What are some of the? Go ahead, Sophia, please. Yes.
Calistra spoke about exclusion, but I also want to highlight that we are also very inclusive. While our constitution bars certain members of the public from holding certain positions among the executive, we have also opened it where we have certain membership roles that they can fill. For example, we have associate membership, we have honorary membership, where even lawyers and people who were once in the media, they can participate. We even have student membership. So although we have our limitations, we are still very inclusive.
Okay, excellent. Sophia, with you, why are you a member of the executive and continuing member of the executive? What is the motivation to serve on the management of MWAG?
So, Colin, this story can take us back to more than 12 years, because I've always knew that I wanted to serve within the media. And I started off at Real FM radio station in St. Patrick, and I'm always hearing about this MWAG. And I had it in my mind that it's a town people thing, and I've always felt excluded. So once I moved to the city and I started working at VFM radio station, I made it my duty to find out who are the players within this organization, and then I decided to befriend them, get to know them, find out how I can serve, and it felt natural because media is my passion. And wherever I am, whether I'm in Grenada or whether I am right now in China, I will serve once there is an opportunity. And I have served in the past executive as a treasurer. Now I'm first vice president. We do have certain limitations on how many terms you can serve, but I will always be a friend to the media, serving in whatever capacity, because this is my passion.
Okay, thank you. And well,
Colin, as you said, you know, we're one step ahead of the politicians here. We have term limits in MWAG.
You have term limits, and that is appreciated. Is that a new inclusion, or
no? It
has always been the case.
We've always had that. Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. I'm a big believer in term limits, so the dig I take, and I would like us to move in that direction. Let's segue to you, Rawle, because from former treasurer to present treasurer, and recognize it's not just a town people thing, because Carriacou is now included. What motivated you to run for executive membership?
Well, I've always felt that Carriacou needed a space, a seat at the table, because of course we make a significant contribution towards the development of the media fraternity. We have never really had the chance to. And then I attended the award ceremony and I was really impressed. But I've always felt that we need to have a say in the decision making, as Calistra said earlier. And that in itself gave me the drive. And the people of Carriacou and Peter Martin was always asking the question, why is it that we don't have somebody on the executive, you know? So the mere fact now that I'm on board, I can tell you throughout Carriacou and Peter Martin is a tremendous amount of excitement, because of course that in itself is going to lead to what has been an Achilles heel for us from ever. You don't have Carriacouans, Peter Martinicans who are coming forward to be in the media. Yes? But we hope that, of course, with this new step, with I on board, that will, of course, generate some interest and maybe give people the passion and the understanding to see that, of course, the media is very significant in our daily lives. So, of course, my role here, as I said, is that I'm hoping out of this that we can hatch a cadre of young people to come forward to be in the media.
And certainly getting this story out post-burial and keeping us updated and making sure that Carriacou remains in the spotlight. It's important to have high-level media personnel working in and for Carriacou and Petit Martinique.
Definitely so. Not only just burial, but even during Ivan, you had a situation, you have to be given the news, not just for Carriacou and Grenada, of course. Most of the media houses were down at the time.
Right.
And I serve as the link between Carrick, Grenada, and Barbados. I received an award for that. So yes, we see ourselves, despite the fact that we are small, but we have a significant contribution to make towards the development of the entire Tri-Island state. Hence the reason I said that I continue to peddle it. It's not, as you know, in the media, it's not monetary fulfilling, yes? But the passion and the drive to ensure that, of course, everything relevant as it pertains to Carriacou and Peter Martinique is part of the national package. Hence the reason, of course, I continue to, of course, trod the
Spoken as a true treasurer. Treasurer already signaling the media not monetarily fulfilling, so we can't ask him for money and that kind of thing. I got that. Tight hands on the purse string. That's where we're going. Calistra, some of the priority areas for this executive. What are some of the things that you say, we must do, and you would have campaigned so that platform?
Actually, I didn't campaign. They just decided the best person for the job at this time, and threw me in. But oh, by the way, Rawle is going to be an excellent treasurer because we had our first executive meeting on Tuesday. On Tuesday, was it Tuesday?
Saturday.
Saturday, yes. No, I sound like the Prime Minister turning to the Minister of Foreign Affairs and asking when we was in Venezuela again. But yeah, and he came up with some brilliant ideas for fundraising. Fundraising is something that MWAG had not done a lot of. We've had a lot of sponsorship support over the years, but he's already looking at ways for us to be able to do more, to get more, so that we can do more, right. Which will make things a lot easier for us if we can, have independent funds like that. And one of the big things, training. Right. Training. This is what we have to do. Just today, I spoke with the Attorney General about the Freedom of Information Act. We spoke about this when I was here the last time. So today, I engaged her. And it's a go in terms of beginning the discussion from where we left off before, because as Linda said, because she was on that time with me, it's been a work in progress. Right. There's a blueprint. And so in the coming weeks, we hope to intensify our engagement. So that is one of the bigger things that we have to do, because members are really calling for it, and the public as well. And then, of course, there's training. So we have a number of training events planned. And during Media Week, which runs from June 15 to the 21st or 22nd, somewhere there, we are going to have a number of capacity building exercises within Media Week. As part of that, we have training coming up on AI and digital interface. We also we've had an offer from the press secretary for training in protocol, which we are considering. But mostly what we want to focus is a 5-day training that's coming up as well in June, focusing on writing and interviewing and the nuts and bolts issues where we feel like investigative reporting. That's a big one as well too, because even in the absence of a Freedom of Information Act, we really want people to acquire the skills that they can actually still find information without it being readily and easily available. So yeah, those are training and the Freedom of Information Act. And of course we have Media Week before all of that.
Okay. Sophia is a long-standing executive member here because you have seniority. Just share with us what are some of the roles of MWAG. As you look at the purpose of MWAG, what are some of the things that MWAG will be charged with?
So as the leading organization for media practitioners and friends of the media in Grenada, our role is very important and significant. And I will take you to a personal story. I remember when we were doing membership drive and we went to a particular radio station, and a media practitioner, she said to me, why do I need MWAG? How can MWAG assist me? Because I've done training, I've done outside of the country training, and MWAG had nothing to do with that. And then I asked her, if something happens to your voice as an individual, who can you turn to right now? And she was stunned. And this really is the most significant role of MWAG, to be that umbrella organization to protect the rights and also advocate for the responsibility of media workers in Grenada. Because within our local landscape, we might be individuals, but outside of Grenada, who are we? We are the Media Workers Association. We are not Sophia, Phillip, or Calistra, Farrier. So this is one of the most important roles of MWAG.
How do you, so I'm hearing a little bit that MWAG serves almost like a union for workers within the fraternity. Is that a good characterization, recognizing that you are really trades people under that umbrella? But is that a good characterization?
I would characterize MWAG as a parent, one who tells you and reminds you of what your responsibilities are, one who protects you when you need protecting, and one who advocates for your freedom to act and serve within your right as media practitioners in Grenada.
Okay. Where do media workers go to air their gripes? And so quite often there's a problem in institution A, whether it's private sector or public sector, and we see it on the news. I can't recall hearing ills within the media, unless everything is always hunky-dory and then there's no need to air anything. Where do you go?
One of the things that we encourage members to not do is to air our dirty linen in public. We bring it within the executive, within the body, and we try to work it out among ourselves. And we're hoping to build confidence in our media practitioners that they can turn to us. It doesn't matter what the problem is, whether it is a personal gripe, whether it's an institutional limitation, whether it's a workplace gripe. You can come to us and we are going to serve you together as a unit to solve that problem. Okay. Because one of the key we're looking at right now, although Calistra didn't speak on it, one of the key reasons why we reach out to Rawle to invite him to come on board with us. We don't just want it to be a unification among the Tri-Island state, but even among us as individual practitioners, because together we are stronger.
Okay, understood.
But I just want to say here that the mention of trade union and so, we are not, right. And we do not do that. We are a press freedom advocacy organization. Okay. So we step up when there is interference, when there is hindrance to our members doing their job, to the exercise of freedom of the press. Okay. We step up. And of course, we have other areas where we assist members and deal with issues because we are a fraternity. But in terms of maybe labor relations issues, employee and stuff like that, we do not. One of the things that we may do is advise, you need to be unionized here and get the people whose job it is right. to be bargaining agents to step in. Okay. But we do not do, we're not bargaining agents. No.
Understood. Rawle, you're fresh in the job as treasurer, but in coming in from the information that you have, what are some of the priority areas that you have set for yourself and of course the executive?
Okay, in terms of the finances, one of the things I would love to see for MWAG is that we have at least maybe 2 staple fundraising activities annually. So every year you could look forward to that put on by MWAG. So that's one of the things I'm looking at. In terms of, for me, more Carriacou and Peter Martinic, is that, as I said earlier, is to ensure that, of course, we make our presence felt even greater in Carriacou and Peter Martinic. So I said, so we can encourage, because that's one of the challenges we have, is that unlike Grenada, you have a lot of media workers. In Carriacou, we don't have it. You may have in Grenada, I am certain that a number of young people who are aspiring to be journalists. In Carriacou, I'll give you a story. I did a session at both secondary schools, and the Carry Day, and then there was another event at both Hillsborough Secondary Bishop's College. And after I got them all excited, speaking about journalism and everything, I keep my camera and my recorder, everything, they heard the voices, everything. At the end of the session, I asked, would you like to be a journalist in the future? Not a hand went up. Yes? Right. Interestingly, when I went to college, one of the students in the Hillsborough Secondary, the contestant now that's representing Carriacou for the National Beauty Pageant show, was Bristol. She was one of the students. And when I went to Bishop's College, I did the same thing. It was Carrier Day. And there was a gentleman sitting at the front, a good friend of mine, a student at the time. And then he looked around and he didn't see anyone raise their hand. So to make me feel good, he raised his hand. I went to the Dowe Government School, my alma mater. Likewise, all the kids. And I spoke about journalism. I went through everything. I got them excited again. I showed them, of course, the passion in it, not just, of course, the work, but, of course, you can enjoy it. And took the camera, took pictures, saw the images, the recorder, they heard the voices, and at the end of the day, no one really showed any excitement to get involved in journalism. So that's one of the, so for me is that we as members of MWAG, for Carriacou and Peter Martinique, we have to, of course, work the hard yards to ensure that, of course, we have a cadre of journalists coming forward. Because as you know, is that you go to any activity, and you would, regardless to who is presenting as a facilitator or a speaker, you would always hear a lawyer, a doctor, maybe an engineer. Right. I've never heard them, you know, a reporter or a journalist. you never, you know what I'm saying? Right. So we as media workers, we have to do a lot to market the importance of journalism, you know, because in Carriacou, as I said, is that it is not really a very sweet topic for a number of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
You said market. How has the Media Workers Association traditionally been funding? Because unfortunately, you need funds to do things. Bright ideas will sit on the shelf unless you can fund them. Has the organization been funded traditionally?
I'm not sure what answer. Just come in as
or maybe a former treasurer.
Former treasurer.
Well, Colin, Sophie, as the immediate past treasurer, can talk a lot about what we've been doing in the last 4 years or so, because we were there for quite a while. But as a founding member of MWAG, so I've been with MWAG from day one. This is my third executive that I've been on, including this last one. Then where I was the first vice president.
Right.
So I'm the one with seniority, by the way. And what we've always had in MWAG is a very good relationship with corporate.
Okay.
That has never put us in any position where there were any demands made on us.
Okay,
because it's a fine line. You worry about that. That you know, a great friend of ours who supported us a lot was Sir Royston Hopkins. He never asked anything of us, except that he was a friend of the media. He understood the importance of the media. He had tremendous respect for us and supported us. And Huggins, another great friend, asks nothing of us. They have no expectations of any sort of, you know, with stories and so on, and nothing like that, right? And so we've had a lot of corporate support for things that we need to do. Our annual media awards happens because of corporate support. And this is how we have done things. We've also, over the years, had a number of training. When we did a lot of training for members years ago, it was through the OAS, which supports media outreach. That's one of the things that they do. So they supported training, bringing in people from the BBC, from the Voice of America, and various places for that, and they would fund it. And so that a lot of the training we have had has been funded through those means. Yeah.
Okay, all right. What are some of the recent highlights of MWAG? So as you reflect back, we are going to move forward, but as you reflect on some of the accomplishments of MWAG in recent years, let's say the last 5 years or thereabouts, what are some of the things you'll point to?
Well, you know, the media awards is probably the biggest thing that we've continued to do. There are small things that may appear small that we do behind the scenes for individual members. They're very important because they impact their lives. I don't want to talk about it on this program. But the media awards, I think, in the last few years is a big thing because it keeps momentum going. It keeps MWAG in the minds of people, and it gives media people something to look forward to have their work put on show and to be rewarded and recognized for their work. Yeah.
Are you happy with the current format of the media awards, or as an executive, is that something that you discussed that we probably can tweak here and enhance how we recognize, how we award and reward our colleagues?
Oh, no doubt. We do have to fix it. There's some issues, and we have to make some changes. But that, of course, has to be discussed among membership and so on, and the executive. So, but the People's Choice Award, how do we determine that? We ended up with a category where programs got mixed up. For instance, programs like the Bob Report, the Narrative, Beyond the Headlines, and other programs got into a category together where that ought not to have happened, and so on. So we need to take a look at that. But also, just because the media awards were created to lift standards, we have to find a way to get back to making it serve that purpose better.
Right. Okay.
Also, let me just put some elasticity to what you just said. Also, in terms of the categories, for example, you have the print and you have radio, television.
Right.
So they will need to maybe sectionize these, because a newspaper article coming up against a radio or television story.
Right.
I don't think that's a.
Well, someone streamlined it along the way, probably when I was out of the country, but it was broken down, because obviously you can't put a TV story in the same category as a print story.
Right.
It's two different sort of criteria for determining whether or not it meets the standards. So, yeah.
Correct. And do we have just...
And Colin, also...
Go ahead, Sophia.
Over the year, what I've seen is that each and every year that we have the awards, we look at the existing categories and see if they meet the existing needs of the media fraternity. And especially with the advent of social media, we have considered and are still considering adding even new components of it so that no one is left out. We have a lot of online platforms. Once they fall into the category of perhaps current events or anything within that media sector, we can look to including them as well.
Okay, all right. What are some of the challenges being faced by media in Grenada? I see Sophia's smiling, so she's going to have to answer first. The challenges in Grenada, but we can go beyond Grenada and we also can examine the region. But let's start at home. Some of the challenges faced by media workers.
One of the key challenges that I want to speak on, and I'm not sure if that was the reason behind the lack of hands when Rawle had his interaction with students, is the tension between resources and passion. Basically, I know a lot of people who get into the media because they are passionate about it, but they do not have the resources that they need to actually thrive within that industry. And this is why we place high on our priority areas, training and educational opportunities, not just practical training in the workplace, but to have, for example, a degree in media studies or communication studies that can enhance your opportunities to earn a practical living.
Let me follow up on that, then I'll come to others. Just the examples that you give, does that take one outside of the media? Do they then become a marketing executive, and by virtue of that they're forced into being an associate member of MWAG rather than a full-fledged member?
Well, I would say it is not wise to limit your opportunities, especially with the changing media landscape. A journalist now doesn't only need to know how to write a story, but they can also get into graphic designing, they can get into editing, they can get into publishing. I would not even advise one to limit their opportunities just because they want to become a full-fledged member of MWAG. You can also have on the side opportunities where you can be a part-time journalist for this company, and then you can be a graphic designer for another company, especially in this changing media landscape.
And I agree with you from the standpoint of the individual. My query is for the organization, MWAG. As one grows and look for additional opportunities, would your membership be growing out of the organization by virtue of those developmental initiatives?
So this is why we have different categories of membership. Like I said, we have associate, we have honorary, we have student membership, because we do not only want to cater for people who are full-time media workers, and we also want to ensure the longevity of the industry. So by including, for example, the student membership, we can encourage students to foresee a possible career in media.
Okay. All right. It's time for our first break, so we will take our first break, viewers and listeners, and then we'll be right back. We're looking at MWAG vision, challenges, but certainly the way ahead. We'll be right back.
It happens to all of us. Low on cash and in need of money right away. Play Instacash Monday to Sunday and there are no draws.
So what you saying? No numbers to choose from?
Nope.
And no draw sessions to wait on?
Nope.
And we can play it anytime and any day?
Yep. Including Sundays. Instacash. Ask for it by name and choose from a wide variety of games as low as $2 and win instantly. It is fast, it is easy to play, and you win cash right away. Must be 18 years or older to play. NLA, making your dreams come true.
Good evening, viewers and listeners. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Daily Pick 3 Multi-X Evening Draw for today, Monday, May 12, 2025. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Kenny Edwards from RSO and Company Limited Accountants and Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, with the game balls with industry standards and in a way tampered with. At this time, show tickets at hand. It's Daily Pick 3. It pays to play. Good luck. First of this evening is check the tickets in the meantime. First number up is 9, second number. Second number is 4, third file number. File number is 7. Okay, let's recap those numbers. Someone's on the screen. Check your tickets. First number up is 9. The second, 4, third and final is 7. So that's 9, 4, and 7. Congratulations, all the winners. It's now time for the multi-X draw. Hope you got your tickets out. Let's play and good luck. Multi-X ball is 3X. Let's recap. Your winning multi-X ball is 3X. Congratulations, all the winners. For Pick 3 multi-X tickets drawn this afternoon, we had a total prize payout of $21,110 with a total of 108 winners. And of course, congratulations to those of you who are part of this payout. Stay tuned, get to play with multi-X drop next. We'll see you soon. Welcome back everyone to another Play with Multi-X Evening Draw for today Monday, May 12, 2025. I am Anisha Charles. With me again is Ms. Kenny Edwards from RSO and Company Limited Accountants and Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accountable manner, and the game balls with industry standards and in a way tampered with. Let's play we value your dreams and win your way. Good luck. Number is 35. Let's recap the number 3535. 35 represents the dream symbol crackle. Congratulations, all the winners. It's time for Multi-X Draw. Hope you got your tickets out. Let's play and good luck. Your winning Multi-X ball for this evening is 3X. Let's recap. Your winning Multi-X ball is 3X. Congratulations, all the winners. For Fluid Multi-X tickets drawn this afternoon, you had a total prize bid of $57,024 for a total of 977 winners. And of course, congratulations to those of you who are part of this payout. Stay tuned at your daily cash Fluid Multi-X drop next. We'll see you really soon.
Like family, it's always exciting when lottery players get together. Now the lottery games are joining in the fun. Check out the multiplier family of InstaCash games. 5 times the cash at $2, 10 times the cash at $3, and 20 times the cash at $5. On your tickets, match any of our numbers with any of the winning numbers and win the prize below that number. There's more. Multiply your winnings up to 5 times, 10 times, or 20 times more. Winning is easy. Play Monday to Sunday. There are no draws to wait on. Win instantly. It's the multiplier family of InstaCash games with over $675,000 to be won instantly. Don't just buy one, buy all, because family is everything. Must be 18 years and older to play. NLA, making family dreams come true.
Welcome back everyone to another Daily Cash Fluid Multi-X evening draw for today Monday, May 12, 2025. I am Anisha Charles. With me again is Ms. Kenny Edwards from RSO and Company Limited Accountants and Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accounted manner and the game balls with industry standards and in a way stamped with. At this time, show tickets at hand. It's Daily Cash for more plays, bigger prices. Let's find out what this evening's winning numbers will be. Good luck to you. Okay, check your tickets. First number this evening is. First number up is 3, second number. Second number is 4, third number up. Check your tickets. Third number is 2, fourth and final number. Final number is 4. Let's recap those numbers. I'm on the screen. Check your tickets. First number up is 3, the second 4, third 2, fourth and final is 4. So that's 3, 4, 2, and 4. Congratulations to all the winners. It's time for the Multi-X draw. Hope we got your tickets out. Let's play and good luck. Multi-X ball is 5X. Let's recap. Your winning Multi-X ball is 5X. Congratulations to all the winners. For Cash with Multi-X tickets drawn this afternoon, we had a total prize bid of $3,250 with a total of 18 winners. Congratulations to those of you who are part of this payout. Tune in later on for the lotto draw. This evening we play for a jackpot of $58,000. We'll see you then. A pleasant evening to everyone. Welcome to the National Lotteries Authority's Lotto Draw number 3796 for today Monday, May 12, 2025. I am Anisha Charles. With me this evening is Ms. Kenny Edwards from RSO and Company Limited Accountants and Advisors, whose purpose is to ensure that this show is conducted in an accounted manner and the game balls with industry standards and in the way stamped with. At this time, show tickets at hand because we're about to play for a jackpot of $58,000. But first, you're free to get a letter. Good luck. This evening's free ticket letter is C, as in cash. Let's proceed for 5 winning numbers. Good luck to you. First number this evening is, check your tickets in the meantime. First number up is 34, second number. Second number up is 20, third number. Third number is 5, fourth number up. Fourth number is 8, fifth and final number. Final number is 17. Let's recap those numbers. Numbers on the screen. Check your tickets. First number up is 34, the second 20, third 5, fourth 8, fifth and final is 17. So that's 3, 4, 34, 2020-055-088 and 1717. This evening's free ticket letter is C as in cash. Congratulations to all the winners. Remind you, this has been Lotto. Play and win a lot. When you play all the games of the National Lotteries Authority, support sports, culture, and the nation building. Thanks for joining us. Have a wonderful evening.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners, and we're chatting with a few of the members of the new executive of the Media Workers Association of Grenada. Calistra, Sophia was pointing out one of development of media workers, and I was querying whether the individual's development will promote people out of active membership of MWAG. What are some of those challenges? Because, you know, and what is the impact as one seeks economic security? Are you therefore losing active membership as an MWAG?
Well, I mean, yes, but you don't necessarily lose membership. You may not, because like with the limitations we have, you can't be president or first vice president if you do certain types of work. Yeah. But that's different. You can always still be a member once you're in marketing and communications and media. Mm-hmm. What we lose are people on the front line practicing broadcasting and journalism. Okay. Because the people who are passionate, who are committed, who are trained, formally trained, they now can seek bigger opportunities, and the bigger opportunities are not in the media, because, you know, to our forever shame, we were included in the people who were on the list of minimum wage who had to be adjusted in the minimum wage recently. The media,
and this actually, let me just to be clear, this was a step up. So you were included in the minimum wage, and that adjustment saw increase in salaries for your membership.
It did in some of the media houses. It had to be adjusted. In some of the media houses, it had.
So the fourth estate was below what we believe as a nation is an acceptable living wage.
Yes, it is one of the biggest challenges that we have, how much our members are paid, and of course how much they are paid is not an MWAG thing, really, right? Because as I said earlier, we're not a bargaining agent. But one of the biggest challenges to press freedom is economics, because the people do not get paid enough, and so there are issues that can arise out of not getting enough. Mm-hmm. And also, when you have constrained economic circumstances, then people may be able to wield their power more effectively. Mm-hmm. And because you lack that independence and the wings to fly and do what you want to do as a journalist, and then people can use that to suppress you. And so that is the biggest challenge we have is economics as media people, I think. And also, I mean, if people are paid well, then you can attract people with talent. People are going to want to go, well, I can actually go do a degree in journalism or communications or something, because I'm going to get a decent salary. Mm-hmm. Who's going to go off to university and spend $500,000 to get a degree and then come back and work for $2,000 a month because they have a degree?
Mm-hmm. Right. So what are some of the things that needs to be done? So the minimum wage is there. What else can be done to raise the profile of journalism in order to attract the best and retain the passionate?
I mean, I think if we have higher standards in the media, if media houses are obligated to provide a better product, mm-hmm. then they are going to have to hire the people who can deliver that better product.
Understood.
And if I come with the expectation that you want me to give a better product, then you're going to have to pay me better.
Okay. how many of, and this is an open question, how many of the media workers are trained? And it doesn't matter. So we're going with someone who has advanced training, whether it's technical training and certification, whether it is we did the associate degree offered by TAMCC, or we have a bachelor's degree in marketing, in communications, in psychology, in whatever. How many of your members will fall into that category? And anecdotally, because I know you may not necessarily have surveyed.
Not a lot, but you're giving me an idea there. That's one of the things we need to do. This new executive, Sophie, well, take notes, that we need to, because it's going to help in determining what we need. So I think we need to, there are quite a few people, I think some of the girls at GBN did the associate's degree, like Rena Pear did the associate's degree at National College, and a few other people, Nisha Peters did it as well.
I remember Mikey P. No, I'm saying Mikey P. May God rest his soul. Mikey Hutchinson crossing the stage as a proud graduate as well.
Yeah, he did it too. And so a number of them took advantage of that initiative that we had worked with TAMCC to do. And you know, a while ago you asked me about the successes in recent years, but you said recent, you qualified it. If you just said the successes, I would have been able to tell you a couple of things, like the schools debate, the Grand Lake schools debate.
Right.
That was not ours anymore, but it was. We started that.
Okay.
And the aim then, what MWAG wanted to do was to promote literacy and communication skills on a national level.
Okay.
And we decided, how do we do that? Let's go into the schools. Let's have a debating competition. And we reached out to Grand Lake. Can you sponsor this for us? And they did. And then it is what it is now. It
is a national event.
Yes. And we had never mentioned.
Okay.
But we started it.
Okay, very interesting, very interesting.
So yeah, and a lot of our people have had technical training in the workplace, but certainly not enough, definitely not enough, because we have a situation where people come into the media and within a few days someone gives you a microphone, which is unfair to the workers, right? And because it creates a false sense of ability and accomplishment. Which they really ought not to do. Media houses actually also, we keep talking about MWAG and training, and we do it because we understand that a strong media is important for press freedom, and if we do our jobs well, if we do our jobs badly, we're a threat to democracy. And so we do it. But the media houses themselves, this is their business. This is what they're supposed to be doing, making sure they have the best product and the people are trained. Right. But I don't hear about the media houses sponsoring training through MWAG or
just for
themselves having in-house training for this stuff. I know GBN did a lot of that back in the day. I mean, you know, they brought in the BBC, and I spoke about that the last time when I was here, so I won't again. But they did. So it's not something that has never happened. It's just not happening now. It's just that everybody has just opened every door you could find and said, let the horses run wild.
Oh my. Areas, Sophia, for development and growth that you believe media workers will benefit from? If we were to identify some of those, what would that be?
As Calistra said, training is one of our main priority areas, and I was one of those horses that she previously mentioned. I remember on one of my job interviews, the boss gave me a news item and she said, read. And at that time, I didn't have any training or accreditation, academic or otherwise, as it relates to the media. So we do have this soft culture of just opening doors, and we want to deter that because it creates a sort of perception that media workers are trained. They're definitely capable at most times, because you do get some level of training from already existing practitioners. But we want to solidify that, and the training goes beyond the workplace, because there are certain aspects of developing a news story where it comes to perhaps understanding the news consumers, the wants and needs of news consumers, understanding the psychology of news consumers, understanding the theories as it relates to news consumption and dissemination, and we do not have that in Grenada at this time. Another challenge, I want to speak on this briefly because I think it's related to the standard of media workers, and one of the challenges that we face is cyberbullying. And people do not understand and recognize the work that people put in, people within the media actually put in to get the information and the news to you. And for something as simple as a slip-up, a mispronunciation of a word, they will be dragged online for that. And like I said, there are limited opportunities, there are limited training opportunities, there are limited educational opportunities. But these women and men have pushed aside to use their passion to commit to a work that is not very encouraging, and they're bringing this information to you. The most that we can do is to show them some grace.
Okay, understood.
It's a thankless job.
I hear you.
I was just thinking about, what about if we try to incorporate media owners and managers, for example, on the MWAG, I know, of course, going forward, that's something we need to look at, that if we can have maybe someone or one or two persons on the executive or part of the branch as it pertains to liaising with the managers and owners of media houses. That I think may be able to, of course, listen on some of our challenges. So because a lot of media managers and owners, they're not really a part of MWAG.
Right.
So they may not be fully conscious or aware as to what our needs are.
But what I heard from Calistra, it is their business to know what your needs are because you are the tools by which they profit.
Right.
And if that is the case, then they ought to ensure that the tools are sharpened so that they can deliver at a superior level, and hence their outfit is a profitable entity. And that profitable entity comes from strong stories, good employees that will then be able to attract advertising dollars, etc. Right? So, and viewership, listenership. So they ought to be on top of that, I would believe, because it is through their employees they're able to deliver.
But again, as we say, the challenge continues that you have media workers who are not properly and adequately remunerated. And it comes from the managers and the owners, yes? Media workers, we are putting out. We are working, I mean, there isn't anything that happens in this country that the media is not there to cover it, yes? But at the end of the day, it's a matter of getting the owners and the managers to fully understand and appreciate that, of course, with the quality work being done, at least media workers must be better compensated. And that in itself would, as I said earlier, that in itself could lead to the growth of media workers coming forward, wanting to be a part of the fraternity and so forth. But if we continue to have these challenges, because these challenges that we are speaking about now, I am certain these are long before Calistra became a member of the media, or even Sophia became a member of media. That didn't exist a long time,
right.
You know. So it's a time. I think the time has come for us to maybe move forward to ensure that, of course, we can turn the corner.
But let me ask you this: have we though lost respect in the media? There's one thing that, okay, so the media workers were not necessarily the highest paid, but were respected. Have we not increased pay and reduced respect, which means no aspiring youngster will want to be part of a profession that is lowly paid and not necessarily respected?
I think also that goes to the political division. We have become collateral damage in the political fight because of the role we play. There is a deliberate effort to attack us, to make us seem unimportant from one side or the other, to
and undermine your credibility.
Undermine our credibility, perfect. Undermine our credibility, and I think that comes because of the existing climate in the country over the last 15 years or so. That vicious political division.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
what has been the impact and some of the implications of artificial intelligence for the media? And this is open.
Well, certainly everybody keeps saying it's going to make our jobs easier. I'm so old school, I still want to pull it out of my head. I still believe in myself. That it's going to make things easier, and that's where the world is heading. At first we were with the paper in our hand and the radio with the turn. Everybody has a phone with it right there, and everybody's, and we've had to move in that direction. And so I am sure that we have to catch up pretty quickly and figure out how to incorporate AI with the original basic standards of journalism, of course, because that never changes no matter what the technology is.
Agreed.
And so I'm not sure to what extent media houses and individuals are utilizing AI right now. It's one of the areas that we're going to be doing some training on, because with AI comes the need to be responsible and also to be able to recognize, because you can put all kinds of foolishness out there using AI. We want to try to provide our members with some awareness and some guidance so that they do not get caught in any difficult situation, deepfakes, and so they can recognize these things and be able to avoid them and deal with them accordingly. So we're looking at, it's a new frontier for us, I believe, in Grenada, I would put it that way. And so recognizing that, we have already taken steps to figure out a way to build capacity in that regard.
Sophia, responsible use of AI, what are some of the ideas? And from your own exposure and current training, how do you use AI responsibly to assist you in delivering a higher quality work?
So AI in itself is a problem, and it's still a solution. So for example, in larger media ecosystems, you would see more use of AI. I was reading recently, a media house in Poland actually fired their entire news crew and they were replaced by AI. So there is definitely a need, even though our media ecosystem is still quite small, for experienced, inexperienced, young and old to become affiliated with AI, because it can definitely help with some of the daily burdens we have as news disseminators. One of the key things that you can do, for example, is cut down the amount of time it takes to write a news item. While you battle with your brain, whether it is young and thriving or old and just lagging, while you battle with your brain to find the words, AI can definitely help you to write a story in no time at all. Now, you have the responsibility as a journalist to fact check, to also ensure that there is a human touch to that story. So using it responsibly, you always have to be hands-on. You cannot just go to AI, for example, ChatGPT, and say, I've heard that the Prime Minister went to an OECS summit. Write a report. AI will tell you anything, and it's also getting information that is fact-based and also generated false information. So you have to have that hands-on experience and be there and guide it and use it responsibly.
Okay. Rawle, how can journalists like yourselves compete with the citizen journalist that is out there on social media and bombarding the public with information?
We have to be extremely creative at all times. We have to ensure that we always have this exciting angle to our stories, because the social media in itself, most of the time their stories are out prior to mainstream media.
Right.
So we always have to be very creative, look for a different angle, go deeper into the story to get more information, to ensure that, of course, when we write the story or present the story, is that the information that we give to our readers or listeners is something completely different and something more in-depth than what maybe they...
Can you truly attract attention? And I'm saying this, that if one accuses the media of either regurgitating press releases or what was on a news conference, or catch up with what we just saw on Facebook, do you bring anything new? Do you bring anything innovative? And how do you still capture my attention? Why will I open the newspaper to read an article from Rawle Paterson? Why will I tune in at 7 p.m. to look at the GBN news? How do you get me to sit and to follow? And even if it's on social media, in terms of your clips and your reels, why would I look at GBN or read the newspaper's articles from Rawle?
The difference is that's why we are called journalists. We're here to, of course, put the correct information out, put it in a professional manner. So, of course, the people in themselves, because interestingly, I said, Colin, that something may happen. For example, in Caracol, recently we had an incident, and it was out all over on Facebook, yes? But you bet your bottom dollar, when it comes to, and even mainland Grenada, let me use mainland Grenada. If there's an incident, yes, it comes out on social media. But bet your bottom dollar, come the time for the news and the mainstream, whatever be it, any one of the stations, you find everyone locked on because they want to get the entire information. And always remember that when there's an issue that attracts journalists' attention, people always see the correct and authentic information coming from the media houses.
Okay.
The mainstream media houses.
And the question is, the mainstream media houses always seem to be behind the curve, so you don't break the news. So how do you balance between getting it right as opposed to getting it first? And that's a quote I got from Calistra last time she was here in terms of the foundational training. And
that is the difference, Colin, is that as media houses, for example, again, let me use another example. Something may happen in, let's say, Caracol, PD Martinique, and someone may break it only on social media. Yes? But you could run with it and go with it. Recently, I'll give you a classic example. About 3 months ago, there was a story out that someone fell from a building in Caracol and died. Yes? So I went to the police. I didn't carry anything. I went to the police. I went searching for information. I couldn't get the information. That was incorrect. The difference is that when most people expect, when it comes from the traditional media, it is correct.
The fact checking was done.
Correct, definitely. Unlike a social media story, there's always the room that, is it quite correct, and so forth. It may be, but people don't expect any fault to come or any error to be made by a reputable media house.
Calistra, how do you compete? How do you compete when there is a media handle, I'll just use the initials AA, that probably has more followers than all of the traditional media houses put together? So people now go to that platform as a source of information and in drones. Put something out and in 2 hours you see 80,000 people or 80,000 views. How do you compete?
And when you look at the quality of what's put out, I know what you're talking about. When you look at the quality of what's put out and the appetite that Grenadians have for it, it's a sad, sad, sad testimony to the state of our nation. But having said that, we do not compete. We don't have to compete because we do something different. What they do is not what we do. We deal in fact and truth, verified information, non-defamatory. We do not do slander. Those are part of the canons that you follow. And we have rules to follow. And I think the public still, no matter how they like the over-the-fence gossip, which is now on social media. The minding people business over the fence is no longer in the yard, it's now on the phone. And we love that, we've always loved it, and so we're on it on Facebook, but I think they still come. I post a lot on my Facebook page, and today I posted about the judge who got arrested, and I see somebody came and in the comment, their comment in it was Anna Augustine, so they were tagging Anna Augustine to see the story. Apparently that page didn't have it yet, and I wondered why. Is it because they were saying this is how it's done, or what did you ask? Very trying to get Anna to come and verify whether Calistra Farrier's report was accurate. And I say, it better not, because then y'all will see that side of me that they say, look how we're talking to the citizens. We ought not to try to compete, because when we try to compete with the people who have 47,000 followers and 100,000 followers, what we're going to do is try to get it first. And we run the risk of not getting it right. And as journalists, we're not allowed to do that.
Right. Okay.
So we still have to believe that the people have discernment and they can, go into the wheelie. My mother have a thing, she'll say the wheelie thing on thing, and then come to us to get something more, the human touch, the story behind the story, how the thing happened, why it happened, when it happened, how it impacts one thing or how it impacts another. What did people have to say about it? Because when you look at those things on social media, it's usually one line or something, one sentence. Right? And we offer more than that. We offer, most importantly, credibility.
Okay. Let's just go generally, and Rawle, I will start off with you on this one because I know you're big on carrying things cultural, and I think recently we saw Vaughan being identified as the face when it comes to like copyright, etc. Within the media fraternity, workers and media houses, is there respect for intellectual property?
Sometimes, but this has been a bone of contention from ever. Yes, you find everyone wanting to maybe do something similar, or maybe copy something that, but simply because, of course, it's good, or it looks pretty, or it's attractive, But that has been a bone of contention. And
giving credit for somebody's photo, for example, remunerating the artists for playing their songs or using their songs in a jingle when you're making an ad for profit. Those types of things. So we celebrate Vaughan, but are we working in keeping with what he is now the face of?
We celebrate Vaughan and then we go make an ad with Blackadan, or what's the other one, or Dash. I like Dash too. Or Dash's song, and we don't even tell him or ask him. He hears it on the radio like everybody else.
Right.
And what he needs to do is call his lawyer.
And how can we, so are you suggesting that the way to get around it is that we become a more litigious society, so that the artists need to sue these media houses?
No. The president of MWAG is not saying that. That was just a little joke. But no, but I think we need to respect people's image, their intellectual property and stuff. We have not grown up in a culture where that is respected. I remember about 2 years ago, someone was doing a program, and they used my face in their promo. And I called them and I said, well, you can't really use my face in your promo for your new show. I mean, apart from the fact that you're using my image to promote another show, it may give the impression I'm part of your show, whatever. And the answer was, well, call your lawyer.
Wow.
Yes. So
is there a lack of understanding of what intellectual property is? I mean, do we need to have an educational campaign?
I think because I don't want to lift that bottle up. I don't know what the arrangements are.
No, but you can, and you can show the label.
Or you can lift it up. Yeah, I think because it's not something that you can hold and you can see and you can hand it over and get cash for it. We do not. We are yet to come in, and which is why I'm so concerned about the government and when they talk about the creative industry.
Right.
Because we really need to tighten our game on this issue of intellectual property. Because it's the unseen product.
Right.
Yeah. And so people have not yet, I believe, we haven't come forward yet to where we recognize it as a product just like a pound of onions or a bale of tissue or a piece of land or something.
Okay. Sophia, you want to weigh in on this one, intellectual property, and how can we galvanize support both from media workers and media managers for intellectual property?
I think it all starts with awareness, education, and enforcement of intellectual property rights. Because as Calistra rightly said, we do not have that culture, Everything belongs to all of us, and we have to understand the damage and effects it can do to the creatives, not only on their brand, but also their livelihoods. And we have to lead by example as media practitioners to respect the rights of these creatives.
Okay. Viewers and listeners, I believe it's time for our final break. So what we'll do, we'll take this break, we'll come back. When we come back, you have the opportunity to weigh in. 440-1252 is the number. But we certainly continue the conversation with the executive of MWAG. We'll be right back.
Have you heard about the new Softweave bathroom tissue with total hygiene? As hygiene and safety have taken center stage, our bathroom tissue is now manufactured with 3 different technologies to offer the best protection for you and your family. UVC light technology for a safe and effective disinfection process, eliminating 99.9% of microorganisms. Also, production at high temperatures, killing all types of germs and bacteria. And it's pH controlled with delicate fibers to prevent irritation for even sensitive skin. Softweave Total Hygiene Bathroom Tissue, available in supermarkets and shops island-wide. Visit Softweave Caribbean Facebook or Instagram pages for more information.
Need to install or repair your plumbing? We've got you covered. Whether you're setting up a new washing machine, replacing a leaking faucet, or fixing that pesky dripping pipe, the Plumbing Supply Store is your go-to place in Grenada. We offer a wide range of plumbing products to make both new installations and maintenance a breeze. Our shelves are stocked with top quality products including pressure and waste fittings. And if you've been struggling with blocked drains, have you heard of Melt? This powerful drain-on-blocker liquid is a game changer, designed to prevent and clear blockages, making it ideal for hairdressers dealing with clogged wash sinks. We also carry a wide selection of repair kits and replacement parts to bring new life to all plumbing fixtures. Visit us today on the Woodlands Main Road or call 444-1377 for expert advice, top-notch products, and a warm welcome. At the Supply Store, we do everything plumbing.
Heritage Theatre presents Breaking Out, the Grenada Love Story, featuring Robert White and Lisa Grappi, written and directed by Chris DeRiggs.
But I still love you, Richie.
You love me and you're hard in me. 4 big performances, Saturday 24th and Sunday 25th May at the Grenada Trade Center, Saturday 31st May and Sunday 1st June at Deluxe Cinema in Grenville. Showtime 7 p.m. sharp.
He's the love of my life, Auntie. You have to marry a man for other things besides love, child.
Get your tickets at Mitchell's Pharmacy in Grand Anse, Gittins Health and Wellness Wall Street, Gabriel's Pharmacy Pedmata, St. David Pharmacy, St. Andrew Pharmacy, Art and Soul Boutique at Spiceland Mall, 3B's Shoe Store, and GoToFed.com. Breaking Out. Come out and enjoy Grenadian theater at its best.
This ad compliments Classic Lighting Caribbean.
Attention all divers, snorkelers and underwater enthusiasts. Effective May 15th, 2025, all visitors to the renowned Mullinaire Underwater Sculpture Park will be required to pay a small fee of US $3.50 or EC $10 per person. These fees are essential to support the ongoing maintenance and repairs of the sculptures, as well as the development of new features to ensure the park remains a world-class attraction. Payment can be made through the Grenada Tourism Authority's online payment portal, available on the Pure Grenada website, www.puregrenada.com. We thank you for your support in enhancing this extraordinary underwater product. This announcement is brought to you by the Grenada Tourism Authority and the Ministry of Tourism, dedicated to protecting and conserving Grenada's resources for the enjoyment of all.
GRENDEC Community Partnership Initiative.
On behalf of the Grenada Athletic Association, we want to thank GRENDEC for the presentation of their check. This is not the first time that they are supporting our character games. I can remember clearly in 2016 they were part of the celebration. They have been there with us and we are very thankful for that.
GRENDEC, energizing our community.
Whether you're refreshing a bedroom or giving your home a bold new look, the Color Shop has the perfect paint and tools to make it happen, inside and out. With quality finishes for every surface and accessories to match, we make painting easy from start to finish. Whether it's a DIY weekend or a contractor starting a brand new project, the Color Shop is the trusted choice.
Viewers and listeners, we're speaking with members of the new executive of MWAG. Calistra, you mentioned earlier about the conversations that started with the Attorney General re the Freedom of Information Act. Are you, though, satisfied with the media workers' access to information from, let's just say, government? So whether we're looking at access to the press secretary and getting information, or the various corporate communications individuals within the various ministries. Are you satisfied with your ability to access them and access timely information from them?
Well, I can speak for myself, and I can also speak from feedback from members who have just come to me as a senior person in the media, just to outline issues and problems they had before all this whole president thing. And no, we are not satisfied. I am not satisfied. I'll give you an example. Last year, I wanted to interview a technical person in the Ministry of Agriculture. And whoever the communications person was, up to now I haven't gotten the interview. It had nothing to do with politics. It was nothing sensitive. As far as I thought they would be happy that I wanted to talk about something that could help with the development of agriculture and awareness and stuff like that. It was some mundane thing, but you know, the mundane things can be spiced up. Mm-hmm. And it was just one roadblock after the other, and it just never happened. And I'm like, why? I am not the enemy here. I'm part of this whole process. I'm a citizen and a journalist. And I don't know if the need to know culture, with that announcement that the Prime Minister made very early on, that he would have these engagements on a need to know basis, which was very much is it beyond the pale, you say? Mm-hmm. It was a bit much for him to say that as the Prime Minister to the citizens of the country and to the journalists of the country. And I think sometimes when we try to get information from permanent secretaries and chief technical officers and the people who are at the level where they can speak, they're not bound by any rules of the public service. Sometimes they do try to make information hard. You know, if you've been doing this for as long as I've been doing it, you know people and you call them and they would talk to you. Mm-hmm. But also with this new administration, there are a lot of new faces in town as well, right, that you have not developed that relationship and that rapport with. And so it becomes a bit, and I think people seem reluctant to talk to the media sometimes for some reason. There's this protectiveness, which I find so unnecessary. You know, if you're doing everything right, then you don't have to worry about anything. So I feel like there should be more openness to information, because the more the public knows, the more informed they are, the better place they are to make decisions anyhow. And the media is not out to get anybody. We're not searching for a reason to make you look bad or whatever. We just want to report the news. Sometimes you're bad lucky that the news makes you look bad, but you know, we didn't set it up that way. That's just how the cookie crumbles. So there can be a bit more availability and openness with the government, because people always want to know what's happening with the government. And you know, the town hall meetings are great and the posts on social media are great, but at the end of the day, the journalist is still the one who properly talks to the people. Okay. On your behalf.
GIS, in terms of the setup, we see GIS having news stories almost akin to a GBN. I'm going to use your experience here. And in your recollection, was that the role of a GIS? Having news that almost seemed to be competing with the major media houses, and sometimes there's a live broadcast of a fire or something like that.
Oh yeah, that one. Did I comment on that the last time I was there? Yes, the director of GIS, bless his heart, was doing a live of the fire in town instead of coordinating with the technocrats in the government to figure out what statement they would issue to the public on this major event in the middle of town. But
if I could just cut you, I believe we have a caller online, so let's take the caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome.
Good night, you sir. Hello?
Yes, go ahead, please, and listen through your telephone, not on the television.
Good night to the three media personnel. Right? And let me congratulate Miss Calistra on being the president of how you call it again? Of the Media Workers Association, right? I tend to support you, Ms. Calistra, with what you just said, but I don't think you all put enough emphasis in it when you try to get information from personnel, government personnel and so, because the Prime Minister did say that information will be in a need to know basic, right? So in other when they fail to tell you, I thought it would have been that the media personnel would have the right to go out there and to get the questions answered. For instance, Mr. Rawle was said on the air that he is not willing to declare the assets. To date, we have not done anything. The media workers have not been questioned that again. Up to now, we don't know if all the persons who were supposed to declare the assets have declared the assets. There are questions that you all should be asking. You're doing a fairly good job, but there are questions you should be asking that you are not asking. So sometimes it seems that the media seems to be timid over certain things. And you have not only just to the government, but the opposition too, to get questions and get, when sometimes you go to carry a story, and when you reach there and you get information, when you come on the radio, it's so different to what other people on the side they seen. You got to wake up on that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Any comments?
Well, certainly I would want to agree with him that a lot of the stories that we need to pursue, we do not pursue. Like the Integrity Commission, he was talking about the Integrity Commission. I mean, that is something that we need to be on, you know, like what they say, white on rice. We need to be on that. This is an important the Integrity Commission and what goes on there, the reporting that's supposed to happen there, and so gives us a test of the corruption temperature of the country and what's going on there. Is it healthy? You know, are things healthy? Are things not? And so I agree with him, and it is something that hopefully other media people are listening and we can find out what's going on with the Integrity Commission these days, and the members of parliament and the members of government who are supposed to declare their assets, have they complied? Because compliance with the Integrity Commission is very important, and a person who doesn't want to comply raises a lot of red flags.
All right, and it's not just ministers and parliamentarians, but people who can be compromised within the public space, so leadership within statutory bodies, etc., are also required to declare assets.
Senior public officers.
public officers, police officers, etc. Correct. All right. Sophia, access to information. Are you happy? What are some of the things that you would like to see change? I know Calistra weighed in terms of her views, but just your perspective.
I would definitely like to see more direct access between media workers and some of the movers and shakers in the government. In the days of me actively practicing media in Grenada, I had the personal cell phone numbers of several government officials, several ministers, and they did not need to have an okay from the big boss before they can speak, because at the end of the day, the media can be utilized as a tool to get your information to the people. And these are the people who have elected you into office, and you have a responsibility to keep them informed about what you're doing and what you would like to do. Sometimes I feel like government officials see us as the enemy, and in fact we are not. While we do not do public relations for you, we play an important role in connecting you to your people.
Okay. President Farrier, strategic direction for MWAG moving forward 2025 and beyond. What are some of the things that we can look forward to?
Certainly, one of our biggest strategies would be to increase membership. I think the stronger the association is, the better we're going to be able to recover and rekindle our past glory. Sometimes you say it's not good to live in the past, but our past is beautiful, it's wonderful, and I think that we need to get back there. And so I will be visiting personally. I aim to visit personally all of the media houses, trying to secure membership as I go, meeting with management, meeting with our members there, and getting people involved, because the association is going to be as strong as its membership. And one of the things I want to be able to achieve in this, and I think Sophia recognizes that as well, and Rawle, the executive does, we recognize that the media people need to understand why MWAG is important, why MWAG exists. MWAG is like an umbrella that you carry because you're not sure when it would rain, but you have it so you can open it when it rains. We're the organization that will stand up for you when some politician calls your boss and says fire you because you wrote a story about the state of the road in his constituency, and it's true, and he's embarrassed and he's vexed, so he decided to be childish and petty and get you fired because he has power. Or any other kind of interference in you doing your work, whether it be political or economic or whatever, that gets in the way of your press freedom. And so that is going to be what, rekindling confidence and raising awareness to those who don't understand yet the importance of what they do, and in relation to MWAG is going to be one of the most important things that we're going to have to try to do, because no matter how much training we have to have the members participate.
Right. Under your tenure, how long is your tenure, by the way? I didn't ask that.
2 years.
It's 2 years.
2 years, and then if you get re-elected, another 2 years, and then after that, you can no longer run.
So it's two terms.
2 terms. Yeah.
Is the maximum, and because we spoke of term limits earlier.
Yeah, we're very civilized in MY.
Very well. Would we see strong advocacy for a media policy under your tenure?
Yes. Yes, it's one of the things that from the beginning, from the Saturday of the election, and we did our news release, and it was there, it was included in that, and I believe that the membership is totally behind everything that the executive is going to do in that regard, because it's something that is, the call for this is coming from the membership, and they recognize the need for it, and will give it full support, and so it's going to, it's going to be in these 2 years. It's going to happen. We're going to do everything to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, it would be because those in the legislative arm of the state don't want it to happen, because we do.
I make a distinction, broadcast policy, which would address things like content, etc. Would we see advocacy for that?
Okay, so it's talking about the media policy then, or the broadcast policy. A broadcast policy a media policy is a broadcast policy and media policies is a fine line to walk, because it is regulating the media, if you will, and sometimes people may want to use the opportunity to create an environment for censorship within that policy.
Right.
And so it's needed because it's important for standards. A lot of things are happening in the media, like it's jab.
I'm driving today at 3:30 and listening to a radio station and the songs playing with obscenities.
That's why my kids don't listen to local media. Not allowed to. They don't want to either.
Right.
So yeah.
So under your leadership, how do we? And I get the idea that we don't want to move to one of censorship, but standards.
Yeah, and so we're looking at that. We're going to engage on that. We must engage on that because we have a responsibility. And the thing is getting out of hand, honestly, Colin. I mean, I may offend some people by saying this, but the thing is getting way out of hand. So we will push for that, but we have to push for it while not sacrificing our independence, a little bit of independence we have left,
right,
and not having an opportunity to neuter us.
Okay, we're almost out of time. So, Sophia, I will start with you by way of closing comments that you would like to share with the general public and also your colleagues, and then I'll come on to Rawle, and of course the President will have the last say.
In terms of closing comments, I just want to remind the public that we as media practitioners, as the Media Workers Association of Grenada, we are here to serve you. And while we do have our roles and our responsibilities, it takes a whole village to ensure that this thing works and it works well. So give us grace and we will continue to give you information.
All right, thank you very much. Rawle?
Well, Paterson is the very first time on board. We are hoping that we can make a very significant contribution towards the entire development of the media fraternity throughout the country. And I must say that we are hoping, most importantly for us from Paterson, that the mere fact that MWAG has embraced us wholeheartedly now, that we would see, and that's of course one of my projects, to ensure that, of course, we have a cadre of media workers for the very first time in a large way emerging from the sisters of Kiarako and Paterson.
Okay. Calistra?
And whatever we can do to ensure that happens, Rawle, you just let us know. I'm very happy that I nominated you and you got elected onto the executive. You're going to be very helpful. I just want to say to all of the media practitioners out there, I think there's a misconception about MWAG, that MWAG is a journalist thing or MWAG is a town thing. MWAG is a media thing. In fact, when we started MWAG, even the people who worked as, and I opposed it, by the way, when it happened, but even the people who did the custodian work or the drivers and so were able to be members of MWAG, and I felt like, well, you know, the drivers should join the Drivers Association. I got a lot of pushback on it, and happen, and this is how inclusive we are. So MWAG is your association for every single one of you, whether you were a technical guy, someone on the computer, someone editing, someone on the microphone doing a shift, or in the newsroom or wherever. You really just need to be a part of the organization. Get registered if you're not yet registered. We have a lot of people registered as well, but they're not paying their dues. Pay your dues. Yeah, I mean, the list is long, but people need to become active and to see the value in MWAG. And you know, we had fun and we did some serious things, and I hope that we can get that mixture again of also having fun, because I think people like the fraternity, the brotherhood, the sisterhood of doing interesting and fun things together while also developing yourself and standing on the front line of journalism. And so, you know, I'm grateful and honored to have been elected president of MWAG. It's a big job, but I believe I'm ably supported, and hopefully in these 2 years we can have some change for the better for the nation and also for the media landscape in the country.
Calistra, Farrier. Rawle, Paterson, Sophia, Phillip, thank you all for joining us and sharing, and a genuine best wishes to you and your tenure as you lead the executive 2025 through 2027, and then the membership will decide if it's beyond. And to you, the viewers and listeners, you heard from MWAG and the importance of supporting this important profession for us and our development here in Grenada. Thank you so very much for joining us once again, and I look forward to being with you in the next 6 days, 22.5 hours. Take good care. Good evening.